arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting the fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Trying to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. Hit every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where
the type of guy that would ride with the breeze. I'm higher than most people. I'm cold and icicle freeze. I'm like him to Mike Tyson. I'm a bison, a beast. I'm hot like Jamaica, like right by the beach. My pops is from a spot where they're fighting for peace. 8 years old, out there watching people fight in the streets. All these sirens only make the violence increase. Yeah, we're still not loving police. It's that bright young American, nice, dumb, arrogant. Tight on a mic, but he might need a therapist. Heart full of kerosene, head full of fairy tales. Said that you're my homie, you don't know me, but I know you very well. Roll back on some West Coast shit. This whole track is wetter than your dress code kiss. About to hit the track, running on some retro fit. I guess I'll lit, I guess I'll bitch, now let's go.
Show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what day it is. It's Tuesday. Pinky, here with my boy. How you doing this evening, my guy?
Oh, man. I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. I'm doing better than Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
Oh, it's cold, Pinky. Jumping in right like that. September 12th. A lot has happened in the last week. Football did start, so there's plenty to discuss there. But before we dive into all things that we were wrong about, is what it really comes down to. What else have you accomplished over the last week, my guy?
Man, what have I accomplished?
What have you been up to?
Bro, just watching football, man. Just watching football. Did get to hang out with a buddy Friday night. We went and had some beers at Good Company. Can never beat going to the local dive bar and just people watching and having some beers. And I watched the CU game, watched the Alabama game, watched another one of the games this weekend, and I was at the Broncos game and watched football. I watched Red Zone at the game. Man, what a weekend, bro. I feel like I got nothing accomplished. Nothing. So
sounds about right. Yeah. No, that should be right. Yeah, exactly where you're at. Exactly.
And then the wife left me. Then the wife left me yesterday to go to Phoenix. So now I'm a single guy too. So
fabulous.
All
right. Good.
So I'm making up for it this week.
Yeah, go ahead and live the dream, my guy.
Trying.
Anything sports related outside of football you would like to discuss?
Oh, I almost forgot. I got to hang out with our boy Andy Saturday night and watch the UFC fight. They moved quick. I think there was, on the main card, there's always 5 fights. The first 3 were done within the first 2 minutes of the fight.
Good.
They were quick. And then the heavyweight fight did go, you would think 2 heavyweight guys wouldn't make it around. They went to the first minute of the second round. They didn't make it long, but so was fun. It was, hanging out with Andy is always a good time. I always have to force him to like sit down. He always wants to like, oh, what drink do you want? Or what do you do this? I'm like, bro, come sit down, watch the fight, and then we'll go get a drink. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We're here to watch the fights together. You're being a great host, but you gotta, come watch the fights. That's why we're here.
Exactly.
Then we watched the, Israel Adesanya fight. Man, that was the worst title defense since Thug Rose defended her title. And I can't even remember who she defended her title against, but it was like the challenger didn't do a lot, but they did a whole lot more than the champ did. And I'm not one for like, typically you got to knock out the champ, or you got to put like a definite stamp on that ass whooping to take the belt. But I just I was just dumbfounded that Israel Adesanya literally did nothing. I think he had 60 leg kicks, and then he had 20 punches to the head maybe, but none of them with power.
I posted it on our page. Is he overrated? I think the question needs to be asked now at this point.
I don't think he's overrated, but since he won the belt, he has definitely changed his style to trying not to get hit and then just outpointing somebody instead of just letting the hands fly and attacking. I don't know why that changed. Maybe he thought as champ, I'm faster than these guys. I can dodge the punches. I don't want to get knocked out. And I don't know, man. But his fights have been horribly boring for a while now. I know he's still got it in him. I just don't know what does it take to get it out of him? I don't know. I don't know if after he won the belt, he just kind of lost that aggression and that want to. And then he was just like, I'm just going to chill because I'm faster and I can strike. He outpointed pretty much most of his folks until Alex Pereira knocked him out.
Right.
I mean, Sean Strickland got him woozy in the first round and then didn't do any, he didn't really do much the rest of the fight, but he had done just enough that you're like, yeah, I guess he won. That's how bad that fight was. Even Sean, I was like, bro, just he's not doing anything. Just throw the hands, and he wouldn't do it either. So that was a horribly disappointing fight to watch. I'm pretty confident the next guy that Strickland fights will knock him the hell out. I was not impressed by him at all, but he just I can't even deny that he did more than the champ. I just can't.
You've always said this has kind of always been your way of looking at things. When the champ has a title defense, he has to make it feel like he won the fight. If you walk out of there after going to decision and you say, I don't know if he did enough to win the fight, then you've always said then the champ probably doesn't deserve to keep his belt, because as the champ, you should be the one bringing it to the other person. And I love that. I love that thought process.
In the UFC, it's always leave no doubt, right? Yeah. And Dana White's kind of a turd, for different things that he's done. But, at least when it comes to the fight game, he's always told his fighters, don't leave it in the judges' hands, because there is no telling what the judges are going to decide. Sure. And there's been multiple fights over the last couple months that I saw it one way and my buddy saw it, a completely different way, and
good.
It and then the judges saw it, a certain way too. So it's crazy. But yeah, that was about the biggest thing besides college football and NFL football over the weekend was the UFC fights. And that was, I just had a great time hanging out with my boy. That's with him and his schedule, his work schedule, he's coaching soccer. I don't get to see him as much at the moment. So hopefully things die down a little bit and I can get together with him a little bit more. But
Solid. I don't know if you saw the other news. I feel like it was kind of big. with LeBron saying he's committed to playing in France now. Why? Why would you do that, Pinky?
I was just messing around.
Just tired of looking at me? Is that what it's come to?
I was messing around because
we finally made it to that point in our relationship where you're like, just me. That's better.
tired of this co-host. I don't need him. No, I'm on my tablet, so I was just kind of messing around with some of the settings to see if I could get a, bigger view of myself. I don't know, maybe
you can if you turn it sideways. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
But then you gotta finagle the way you're setting it up. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if I've got anything to hold it up now. So,
that's
it's just gonna have to go this way.
Yep, just gonna have to rock with it.
Sorry, guys.
Get it.
You don't get to see. I've been putting in the work for everybody. I've been working out.
Off the rails. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, you'll be fine. This will work for a show. It's
nobody cares about LeBron in Paris. Nobody cares.
The
fraud.
I thought it was kind of good because it shows like two things. One, I'm tired of people being like, "Oh, the world's caught up to USA with basketball." Well, I mean, have they though? Like, when was the last time we really sent our best players? Like, when was the last time that actually happened? 2008?
Well, also remember, a good majority of the best players in the league right now are international.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some really good international players, but they're not all playing on the same team. If we go to the Olympics, Giannis.
I know, but they're not playing. But they're not playing for USA either.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, we're still gonna have the best group, like individual team and group. That's all.
Always with the joke.
So, I think it's interesting to see who actually comes and plays with him. If he's serious, what team actually shows up to the Olympics? Because if it's our best team should beat everybody else by 20 on average, roughly.
I mean, probably.
Like, that should just be where it is.
Good old Aaron. Love to have you on the show, buddy. Trying to figure this out. Cody, does that sound any better? Cody was commenting on my sound.
Uh-oh. Well, at least it's not me this time.
Oh, man. Oh, wait. He wants to start feeling... Biggie wants to start giving you some crow, I think. We'll get there, though, Biggie. We're not there yet, but we'll get there.
Biggie, we're not eating crow after week 1, my guy. I'll eat crow, but not after week 1. Easy. We
don't want to...
Hang on. We'll get there. Yeah, that's a Rodgers jersey, Chris. That's a A-Rod.
Yeah.
A-Rod.
You want to catch him up on the story?
Discount double check.
Well, I'm collecting jerseys from every team in the NFL.
That story?
Keep going.
I didn't realize that was the story we were talking about.
No, I was just like Chris was commenting and asking, so I just thought I'd get on there.
Fair. So, yeah. There's that news. And then in the world of tennis, the U.S. Open, Coco Gauff won as a 19-year-old. Last woman to win as a teenager was Serena back in, I think they said it was 99 or 2000, something like that. It's been a while. So she won. And then on the men's side, Novak Djokovic won. So he's all by himself with the majors titles record. And that is the last major of the year for tennis. So tennis is kind of, for better or worse, depending on what else you want to follow, it's pretty much over for the season, and they'll pick back up next year with the Australian Open. But pretty strong, solid way to finish the season. Alcaraz and Djokovic met again. They played at Wimbledon, and Alcaraz won, beat him. And there's some good young talent on the men's side of the bracket here. Some good young American talent, actually. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. All right, Big E. I guess I'll take that.
I mean,
Sure.
that's not bad. I mean, there's worse people to look like, I guess, right?
Sure.
I mean, I thought it was cool. I saw Joker was out there at the Open to root on his boy. So that was cool. That's about all I had from that. I didn't really watch any tennis or anything, but
yeah, I wasn't expecting you to, so we're good.
Yingling. Oh yeah, buddy. I got a 24-pack. A good friend brought it back from Texas for me. And,
the original Coors original.
Right. So then I still had a 12-pack from April, from when I went from the NFL draft. So I was like, finally I can drink those, and I've got 24 sitting behind them.
Yeah, that's each their own, my guy. To each their own. All right, you want to talk some college football?
I would love to, my friend.
Ooh, love it.
I am all in right now. So I was betting crazy this weekend. Thankfully I won money Saturday, lost money Sunday, and somehow broke out just about even. Well,
okay.
I got actually got quite a few free bets from last night. So I'm actually up $50 overall, I would say. So
solid.
I'm not feeling too bad. Let's talk. Let's talk Texas, Alabama to start with. I mean, we all knew, like, if Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt last year, Texas wins that game.
It sure felt like it. For sure.
Like we saw it
sure
last.
Felt like it.
And Alabama's receiving corps right now is not where it had been in the past.
For sure.
And you match that up with, well, Bryce Young was good last year. He just didn't have the receivers. Now they've got an athletic quarterback who can't throw the football, and I don't know where their receivers stand at this point.
I'm not really sure where their weapons talent is at this juncture.
So seeing and I'm just over Alabama. Like I don't know if I'm an Alabama hater. I'm just over them. Like I just don't really care if they're number one anymore. I just want to see other teams at the top. Saban kind of rubs me the wrong way too. I've never been a Saban fan. So
how long will you allow Georgia to be top before you feel the same way about them?
I mean, Alabama's been on a run over a decade. So I mean it'd have to go a while before I'm just like, get these Georgia guys out of here.
Okay.
So that was I don't think it was a great game. I watched most of it, and Texas just basically beat them. It was fun to see all the Texas fans have something to root for. Matthew McConaughey, he's a huge Texas fan.
All right.
So yeah, that was
on the sideline, Roman.
It was good. And, week 2 of college, I think it's officially week 2. Is usually lame.
About freshmen, right?
Right. It's pretty much lame that most of the schools play shitty teams and usually beat them pretty good. So it's not like
Ewers was dropping dimes deep. He had 3 deep balls that were just like laid right in there. That he was just kind of tossing up all nonchalantly almost. It was pretty wild. So
that was fun. All the other guys did well. Caleb Williams still played well. Michael Penix, the usual suspects, all looked good. So, the main thing I want to discuss, I just, where I want to go. So, you let me know what else you want to mention about college football.
Hey man, let's talk Colorado, Nebraska. I know you want to go there.
Well,
I mean,
we
look,
talked about it before.
here's the deal. Like, let's just get it out of the way now, right? Like, I had more faith that Colorado was going to be good right away than you did. I
Right.
said Shadur Sanders was going to be a dark horse Heisman candidate way back in like March. Like, I saw all this coming. So,
True.
yes, I'm a
True.
Nebraska fan. Yes, I'm a homer. Yes, I was hoping Nebraska would play better. But let's be flat out honest. When one team has a Heisman caliber quarterback and the other team doesn't have a quarterback at all, the game's going to get out of control and it's going to look ugly for one team. Like, that's just the way it is. And unfortunately, if Dion wants to keep recruiting, he's going to have his pick of the litter next year as far as what talent he'll get to have in Colorado. Like, they're going to be good. And I said 3 years. Maybe he stays there a little longer because maybe he likes it there. But they're going to be good. So I'm not like, okay, I don't know what crow I'm eating over Nebraska other than the fact that we all know I wanted Nebraska to win.
So I had to like text some other people like when I was putting money on the game, and I was just like, I don't understand. Like, Colorado went back and forth with TCU. Nebraska struggled and lost epically against Minnesota, and the line was only 3 points. Like, that didn't make sense to me. So I had to check with some people, and they're like, yeah, they're still not quite sure about Colorado. And I was like, I hammered it. I put a good amount of money on it because I just had a feeling they were going to win by more than 3 points.
Let's be honest, though. You even messaged me and go, damn, your defense is legit.
No, the defense.
And if Nebraska doesn't turn the ball over 6 times, if they turn it over twice instead of 6, it might be a game at the end. Not saying Nebraska would have won, but if it was only 2 turnovers, it might have been a game instead of a giant blowout. So a lot of things to fix, a lot of things to clean up from Nebraska. CU's rolling. Look, they just are. I don't like saying it. Doesn't make me feel good.
You're welcome to chime in anytime you want, SP.
Oh, sorry. I was working on some stats for some bets Thursday.
You can. I just didn't want you to pick your nose or anything while you were on camera. So just let you know you were in the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I said this is what I expected from Colorado. So anybody who wants to try to like come at me because I'm a Nebraska fan or something, like I've been saying this is going to be what's happened since they first signed on to Colorado. I was one of the first ones saying it.
And hey, bro, like I called you. We talked about it. The defense from Nebraska played good. Sims is just bad. Sims is bad. In fact, like Sims is so bad, I would put Purdy in.
Dude, Sims is playing right now in such a way that it makes me believe he's not even a quarterback. Like, they just threw in like their 6th-string wide receiver because they didn't have anybody else to run the ball or something. Like, that's how bad he's playing right now. It's bad.
It's epically bad. Like he's playing so bad, it's really tough on Matt Rule to keep playing him. But when can you get him to play and not turn the ball over? Is that even possible?
8 turnovers in your first 8 quarters of play to start the season. I think that's enough of a sample size to say, hey, probably going to need to sit you now.
And he had turnover issues at Georgia State.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I heard somebody say, and it made a lot of sense actually, if that's what they were seeing in camp, like there's no way they start him. So something between practice, he's one of those dudes who can practice really well and then gets on the field and something just goes haywire. Like, that's what I'm starting to learn about Sims, unfortunately.
And we agreed, you guys do not have like the talent at wide receiver to like really help out the quarterback. I mean, you have a 6'4" quarterback that can run. He took one for 50 yards for a touchdown, and that was like his play of the game.
Yeah. So, no, look, I'm a Dion fan. I said Shadur Sanders was going to be incredible. People laughed at me. I only think they're going to get better, and I'm excited to see what they do. And it makes me puke a little bit in my mouth because that means I'm kind of sort of rooting for CU. But It is what it is,
this?
man.
The CU game was the most watched game of the weekend. College football.
I believe
it
that.
It had 8.7 million views versus Texas, Alabama at 7.9.
You get half of that is Nebraska faithful, and the other half is people just wanting to know what's going on with Deion. Easy.
So, good stuff rolling. I do like Deion made a comment in his press conference that one of the things he was most excited about was just seeing how many more black people are in Boulder with things going well. And I was like, I hadn't thought about that, Deion, but all right, man.
Deion.
You know?
I will say, you see how much red was still in that stadium?
There was a good amount.
Even after they tried to make sure it was non-existent, there was a good minimum third of that stadium was red.
So I'm assuming that most of the fans was more like, hey, I'm glad you paid all that money to see your team get just mopped up. Awesome on you. So it all works out.
It's not a far drive.
Not really. Not when you take I-70.
8 hours, 7, somewhere in there. It's quick. So, yeah, that was rough for me. But also, as much as I hate to say it, I liked watching it because I think Deion's a really talented recruiter, and he brings the right people into coach. And I think Shedeur Sanders is a beast.
So I'm gonna critique Shedeur just a little bit. The 2 games I've watched, if he holds onto the ball too long in certain cases, and he sits back and tries to throw when he should run. Like multiple times, there's 15 yards in front of him, and he's trying to throw the ball downfield. I get it, but just run and get the first down and get down. Like from what I understand, he has the ability to run. He's just not doing it. He needs to mix a little bit more of that into his game. He would be unstoppable if he was able to do both. So that's why. So I finally in the fourth quarter, I think he finally did run one in. I think
he did,
and that was open like most of the game. So
yeah. We'll see how
he's playing great. That's just like a small critique. Like from a quarterback standpoint, he's sitting in the pocket. He's making good decisions. He's putting the ball on point. He gets away from pressure. It's just like that decision to run. If he would just make that decision a little bit quicker, I think it would just he'd be a far more explosive player.
I can see that. I can see that.
That's my only critique so far. He's got an easy one coming up against CSU, and then they've got their stretch. They've got Oregon and USC.
They're gonna have a stretch coming up for sure. When they
he was evading pressure.
Schedule.
He's evading pressure too much, Cody. That's when he's taking those sacks because he's going out and around. He's not actually making the decision to run.
Nebraska was bringing. I mean, they were in it until maybe the middle of the third quarter, and that's when Colorado finally blew it open after turnover number 4.
Right. Yeah. It was 13-0 at halftime, and then you guys came out and got that. I want to say you got that 50-yarder.
Wasn't it 16-7 or 13-7 at one point? It was all of a sudden it was oh, we might have a game, and then it just the floodgates open, and it was awful.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but it was fun to watch. And he is in the Heisman running, although I've had a couple buddies tell me I was stupid after saying that week 1 that he would be his Heisman chances are going up based on his week 1 performance, and then he followed it up with another good performance, and he's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely he is. It's all right, Pinky. They laughed at me for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Get laughed at for a little bit. It'll be fine. You'll take it.
I'm good at getting laughed at. It's fine. Are we ready to talk some NFL?
I was gonna say, is there any other college you want to discuss right now, or are you good to?
I mean, most teams played, shitty small school teams. I don't know if there were any real upsets this weekend. Was there? I just think that Alabama got beat by Texas. That was about it.
Yep. That was
I
major
guess
storyline. So I just
guess
want to make sure there wasn't anything else you wanted to mention.
the Miami Texas A&M game was a pretty good game to watch, but that was back and forth for a while, and then Miami finally blew it open. But other than that, yeah, I got to find out that Miami's safety is the number one safety in the country, and he left on a stretcher with 2 minutes left in the game.
Interesting.
Got to check in on that.
The last thing I'll say,
just for my boy DB, because he's a Texas A&M
last thing
guy.
I'll say before we move into the NFL is, Colorado fans, I love you like Stephen A. Smith loves Cowboys fans. You guys never cease to disappoint. Rushing the field after beating Nebraska like it meant something just shows how much you think of your actual program. So congratulations for continuing to be
hold on.
some of the absolute just best fans
You're not going to throw that blasphemy
all the time.
You're not going to throw that blasphemy out here. Look,
I absolutely am.
They rushed the field because for the first time in like 20 years, they're excited about CU football. That's how bad they have been forever.
No, Pinky. Real programs don't rush the field when they beat somebody who's not ranked and hasn't had a winning season in like 15 years. Like, real programs don't do that. Rivalry or not, they don't rush the field.
CU hasn't been a real program in 20 years, my friend. So
yeah,
I'm going to
give them the benefit
of the doubt.
That's what I'm telling you. That's why I love CU fans, because to them that meant something. That meant everything. Like, they've already the field for that. Like, come on.
They've already won more games this year than they won last year.
Good for them. Congratulations. Acted like Nebraska was like
if I was
number
there,
1 or something.
If I was there, I'd have been right down on the field too, probably looking for wallets and car keys, but that's a whole different thing.
Dion had to leave the field early because he can't run and bob and weave anymore. So he had to leave the field early just to make sure these trust fund hippies didn't run him over while they were fighting their way into the crowds to celebrate beating a Nebraska team that is just epically bad.
So I have a good story actually from the aftermath of that game. I was talking to a friend at the gym tonight, and she said her dad and her uncle went to the game, and they're both big black guys wearing cowboy hats. They went to this bar after the game. No other black guys in the bar at all. One of the bartenders literally asked them, "Oh, hey guys, what's going on? Why are you here?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, Dion told us to come over." And they're like, "Oh, you know Deion Sanders?" He was like, "Yeah, man. He bought some real estate from me down in Louisiana." Gets the whole bar into this thing of thinking that like they know Deion Sanders. Ran up a $200 bar tab. They didn't make him pay at all. They're like, "No, it's fine. Deion told you to come down here. It's fine. We'll take care of it." They don't know Deion. They've never met Deion.
Things happen. DB, yeah, you're absolutely correct. They are an epically poor fan base. And that's put as nicely as I can say it. A beer can being thrown at you is a gentle gesture from CU fans, if I may say so myself.
Looks like a slap on the butt, right?
It's what it is. Oh boy, some of the things I've seen and heard and
knowing DB, he probably deserved it. He's kind of a rowdy guy.
Yeah, that's one of those fan bases that just probably doesn't actually deserve to have any teams, but they get them anyways, nonetheless. So, yeah, that's about all I got. NFL. We can move right along now.
NFL time. All right.
And SP, I love having you here, my guy. It's great.
Thanks.
Where's the whiskey sour, bro?
Dude, I just got out from a nap. I was passed out on the couch, bro.
Can't fault you there.
Been one of those days, man.
God, where do we even start, man? Where do we even start?
Thursday night, probably go back and.
I mean, that was was enjoyable. Absolutely. Not often does the Super Bowl winning team lose on the Thursday night opener. It's very rare for that to happen.
Yeah. But if Kelsey was in that game, that was a different story. That was awful.
It's probably a different game if Kelsey's in. I'm still not going to be like, oh, they definitely win, but it's definitely a different game.
Well, let's take a step further. If Chris Jones is in that game and Kelsey's in that game, I say the Chiefs win.
Yeah, one of the worst things I saw was Tony couldn't catch COVID in a New York nursing home. And I was like, bro, internet is savage.
And he's not getting the credit either, but Sky Moore can't either.
Yeah, nobody, man. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the Super Bowl again. Just that sad display
it was
of just
bad.
their receivers
it
not
was
showing
bad.
up. It was rough. But yeah, I just think if anybody showed up ready to play that game, I think the Chiefs would have won. So even though I predicted the Lions technically winning, that was a fluke. If Kelsey didn't get hurt, that would not have come close to happening. So,
well, see, I know when I was talking with Andy, months ago, probably around, we were out in the draft, the Chiefs not having a quality, consistent wide receiver to rely on outside of Kelsey was an issue.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about. Like, if Kelsey ever got hurt, things are just completely different. To no fault of Mahomes. Like, I thought Mahomes still looked great. I mean, 4th and 26, and he still hits a dude in the hands for a first down, and the guy dropped it. It's what he can do on the football field is amazing. Just like, again, you guys got to catch the ball at the end of the day. Like, no matter how good a quarterback you are, if the guy just don't catch it, you're not going to win.
Yeah, and I was actually pretty surprised. I was fairly high on Tony actually prior to that game, which completely changed my whole perspective of him.
I was very high on him going into that game.
I thought he was a steal actually for the Chiefs to pick him up last season. I was like,
didn't want to catch the ball. Apparently, decided that was not.
I played him in fantasy.
What?
That was a mistake. I played him in fantasy.
Oh,
that was a
gotcha.
Well, yeah, but Pinky, you should know better. You knew it was one of my guys. You know it was one of the guys I had some value on. You took him from me, so we all know what's going to happen if you do that.
Man, how high were you on Rodgers?
Dude, how long have I been talking about him being a badass? Like,
yeah,
years. It just took a while to catch up. Like, we thought the broken thumb last year was bad. That was just the appetizer. That was that cheese course before we get to the main course of the filet mignon of an Achilles rupture.
Yeah, it was
moving. I mean, I love the Lions winning.
J.K.
I love
Dobbins, SP. It continues, and it's going strong to start the season week 1.
That's exactly
we're not there yet, guys. We're not there on those guys.
We can talk about my curse at any time. We're not there yet to talk about that.
It's a pretty big, wide-ranging curse that you have. But I was happy to see the Lions win. I like Dan Campbell. I like a lot of the players they have. So I enjoyed that game. I was hanging out with Andy, had my Chiefs jersey on. And at the end of the game, I felt like I still won, right? Still won. So everything's good. All right.
Let's just discuss the big storylines from the weekend, then we'll move into next week.
Okay. I like it.
I think the next big storyline for me isn't a storyline, but it is a storyline at the same time, is the Bengals playing like poop week 1.
Bro.
Which is like, haven't they done that like the last 5 years? Like weeks 1 through 4 are kind of rough, and they might come out 1-3, 2-2, and then they just tear everybody to new one the rest of the season. Like, that's just kind of what they do, right?
That's literally what I said. I said, well, that and also the Browns play phenomenal at home in their division games. That was the other thing. I said that is an absolute recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
I said the
Like
Bengals play terribly. So
can you give me that info like 24 hours before I put money on the game?
All you got to do is ask, man.
So I hear a lot of people talking about it. I'm like, Joe Burrow's done this not playing the preseason thing before, came out flat, and then they went to the Super Bowl. So I think I'm okay on the Bengals still.
So yeah, they're gonna be fine.
I'm not overreacting,
right?
But like that was pathetic. That was pathetic.
Sure.
And then they have to go and play. I think they played Baltimore this weekend. So,
Yep.
like, you go from a team that you're like, oh, we should probably beat, to playing a team that, like, I think Baltimore is a better team overall. Now, again, without Mark Andrews, maybe not
I
the
mean,
case.
Baltimore didn't look great this weekend against Houston, so
No, they could have lost that game.
this
They could've lost
was
that
one
game.
of the weirdest week ones I can remember in a very long time.
No,
just as far
this
as
week-
quality and
week one
outcomes.
was exactly like it was last season, because as
Week
soon as
one's-
it got done,
One's
I went,
trash.
I know nothing. As soon as week
Yeah.
one was over, I was like, I know nothing.
I mean, I don't feel like week one last year was this like. I don't want to say like poor play necessarily, but just like guys were running in mud. Like it just seemed like off. This week one just felt off.
There were a lot of teams that didn't play starters in the preseason. I don't know if that correlated to the teams that looked like shit, but maybe that's part of it.
Sure.
I know. I mean, for Joe Burrow, he had no preseason. He didn't play all. Like, he just got healthy enough to play in the last week before the game. So I'm still going to give him kind of an out. And obviously Myles Garrett hates the Bengals because he like puts up some of his best games against the Bengals. So
Hey, is
not as
DB
much
a
as he
Browns
hates
fan
the
or what?
Steelers.
Is DB a Browns fan, or he just wanted to chat about?
No,
that
he works on the betting projections,
Hmm.
and he had Browns money line as a
all
good
right.
thing to take.
So
So
somebody else
you
with some class. Yeah. All right.
yeah,
I got that.
you weren't the only one that was smart enough to take Browns money line.
I had Browns as a 9-point favorite, so which nobody was on par with me on that one, but that's okay. It's all
Dude,
good.
if you'd have put +9 on the Browns, you'd have made a lot of money.
I thought about it, but instead I just did a double parlay doing the under and then the Browns winning, and that hit pretty good. So, but I was gonna say, actually the Ravens, they're still not gonna win next week, but
Against the Bengals? Well, I mean, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
What else?
yeah.
Well, we don't need to go over every game, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Well, let's
major
talk about.
highlights from week one.
But before we get too far, I want to talk about what I would probably say was the best game to watch as a fan of the weekend. Anybody
There's
know?
only one game that's the correct answer for this, so let's see if you're going to say it.
Dolphins Chargers.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
10 lead changes. Like, that was an amazing game.
What did that end? 34-32, something like that?
He's a fan of strippers. Yes, DB is.
It was was it 34-32?
I think so. Something right there.
34.
34, yeah.
That catch that Tyreek made, that last one in the end zone.
Yeah. But don't discount that throw though, man. I mean, boy, did he have to put a line on that. So that was a great performance.
Good.
When that team is healthy, I don't know who can score more points than them, man, as fast as them. It's pretty crazy.
And that's without Miami having like a great running game, really. Like, it's okay. But they're just like, they can throw, like, every time I turned, because I was at the Broncos game, Aaron was at the Broncos game. We were in a suite, we were watching the game, but we had finally figured out how to get red zone on the TV. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you being smarter than everybody else.
Absolutely.
And I would just look over, and every time I look over, it was like Jalen Waddle catching a ball for 15, Tyreek catching a ball, and I was just like, what the? And then, like, you know, they'd show it when the Chargers have the ball, and they're running for like 10, 15 yards a clip every time they ran the ball on the Dolphins.
Herbert was dropping dimes.
I was just like, what is going on over here? Like, it was crazy, man. That was I wish. Yeah, that's one of the games I'm like, man, you know, it would have been fun if the Broncos were not playing at the same time, and I could have actually watched that game, because that looked like that was the best game of the weekend to watch.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. There wasn't a lot going on in that Broncos game, so I had plenty of time to tune into that.
All right, Cody, not a hot take. I mean, if people think it's a hot take, it's ridiculous. I said he's on the list when the season started. So
Tua is on, his MVP odds have increased. he's on the list, and he was on the list last year before he got hurt.
Yeah.
But
Not a hot take. He should
it's
be
not
there.
a hot take,
We all
but
expect him to play like
it's
this
still
now.
early. It's still early.
I'm just saying, we all expect him to play like this now. If he's on the field, this is what we expect to see from that group. Like, and if it's not, then you're gonna miss the bus.
And
this is
I
what
give
you
a lot
should
of
expect
credit.
to see.
I give a lot of credit to Mike McDaniel. Mike
Hell
McDaniel teams that like guys are wide open. And again, Waddle's fast, Tyreek Hill's fast. Like, it's really not fair. I saw we had Clayton talk a little bit about Love and the Packers.
Huh.
I didn't get to watch the
Some
game.
guy was talking about how we should keep an eye on this, and he's going to be the Packers might be. Interesting.
That might be my crow I have to eat this season.
We'll find out. It's still early. Like, I'm not taking a lot of stock in anything from week 1. Let's be honest. But
he played the Bears. So, and I don't think the Bears
it's
are that
nice
good of
to
a team.
see that Rodgers was able to pass the paternal paperwork down to the next generation to continue the lineage. That was good. That was good to see.
Yeah, DB has a point. Instead of MVP, he'll be with CTE, and he ain't going to have a career anymore. So
we'll see. Got to keep him
until
upright.
that day, I'll enjoy watching him throw dimes all over the field.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I drafted 2 quarterbacks. just in case.
That'll do it.
That's what you got to do.
Until they put him in a bobblehead helmet, I don't trust him. So
Love did look good, Pinky. Yeah, I think you got to admit that. Like, if you look at the tape, he looked pretty solid.
Look. I'm in a 2 quarterback super flex league. You can only have 2 quarterbacks on your roster. There's a premium on quarterbacks because they get 0.25 per completion. Jordan Love was the second highest scoring quarterback last week, and he's on my squad. I have Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love.
This guy
don't talk trash.
Just bashes me for all my takes.
He did it by complete accident. That's all that was left. All right.
It was bad. It was like
me all preseason telling me I don't know nothing, and then when it comes to his fantasy drafts, what does he do? Caleb was talking about this guy.
Hold on.
Pick this guy up real quick here.
It is not normally a good idea to draft guys that Caleb says he's high on. Okay, let's just be clear.
Yeah, it doesn't but most of the time it's not because they're bad. It's just because you put a death sentence on them.
Truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor guys. I still need to get that list of your guys so then I can be like, fuck, this guy's screwed. This guy.
We really should start writing it down because it's. Look, we know I've been high on Rodgers. We know I've been high on Dobbins, and they're both Achilles week 1. Like, goodbye. So
you want to know what? I think the first Sports Nonsense and Whiskey shirt is gonna be Will Smith slapping Caleb saying to keep his name out his mouth.
That's a good one.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby? Nah.
Oh man, so true. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for a lot of people.
Cody, does anybody really care about the Bucks and the Vikings, Cody? I mean,
it wasn't upset, but not anything like. Even we talked about it when we said the Vikings are going to take a step back this year. We thought the Bucks would be bad, but we said the Vikings could Viking. Like they have tendencies to have these games that are just not good.
Anytime
the Bucks are going to be good.
Anytime a team wins like 10 games by less than 1 score, there's going to be a regression normally. Like, you know. So, because they played so many close games. In this game, like they even had a chance to win it by 1 score at the end. So
they did. And we've talked about how bad the Vikings defense is. So it's not like the Bucks scoring on the Vikings was something that's like, oh my God, how did that happen? They have Mike Evans. They have Chris Godwin. Okay, they've got some dudes that Baker could just throw it up to, which he did, and it worked out okay this weekend. But to sit here and act like Baker's going to be able to do that week in and week out, like, come on.
On the other hand, Minnesota's an idiot by letting Dalvin Cook go. I don't comprehend that at all. So
Madison doesn't have the big playability though. Cook
I
does.
don't know if I go quite that far. What I will say is doing that and then not adding to your defense in any way meaningful.
Yeah,
to
all they
spend that
did was make
money.
their team worse. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they let Thielen go, they let Cook go, and then but then again, Addison looks pretty good, so I think he's going to be pretty solid.
And they have Hawkinson now, and they've
Yeah.
got, Jay Jetta still. Madison didn't look bad.
No.
But when you have Cook and then Madison to relieve him, that's a whole different level of an attack, to your point. So, yes, they did not make a lot of great moves this offseason. Pinky, let's touch on the Broncos real quick. Go ahead. How do you feel?
Do we have to?
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine. Actually, for the most part, we had a good time. The game,
I'm not asking how you. No, I want to know how you feel about the team, buddy. I don't care how your experience was with the game.
I'm not overreacting. Like I saw a better scheme. I saw like Sean Payton could scheme guys open. If Philip Dorsett doesn't go out of bounds on that one play, like that's a 50-yard play. The onside kick, I might have some issues with that. Probably not something.
Why? Why do you have some issues with that, Pinky?
Because I don't like starting the game with giving a team the ball at the 40-yard line.
Okay.
Like I just don't. And again, he was about probably 6 inches short of the 10 yards to touch the ball. He was really close.
It was close. So here's where it comes down to. Do you lie on the side of the fence where that's a gutsy call and it's aggressive and I like it? Or do you lie on the side of the fence that it's, well, Sean Payton's kind of coming out from the very beginning of the season saying things are going to be different. It's not going to be like last year. And I don't have a great squad, so I'm going to do some crazy things.
I look at it as more of almost a poker approach that he kind of puts like he wants to put people, players, coaches, he needs to keep them thinking, right? Where it kind of opens it up on the unpredictability, play calling, things like that. I don't think it was just a dumb move, and it definitely wasn't just sporadic. I think he did it for a reason, and whether or not he accomplished what he was going for, I definitely believe it was with purpose.
He surprised everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, nobody knew to look for that onside, and yeah, you're right. I mean, that's just a half yard further less. That would have been a different story, and it could have really changed the pace of that game. So. But to what Clayton was saying, though, yeah, that is a completely different Russell Wilson compared to last season. That first half, we were like, oh, look, things are going to be different. And then the second half came, we're like, nope, they remembered who they were. And, didn't quite go as well. So.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, really weird. Both teams only had 6 possessions. Like that just.
Oh, it was a long, drawn out game. Well, okay, it was fast, but it felt long because all those possessions just went forever. It was
not a good game. It was not a good game. Somebody who's been preaching how things are going to be different and we're going to be on cue and we're not going to have those mental errors and this and that and the other all off season. I didn't see a whole lot different, to be perfectly honest with
you. Two big 15-yard personal foul penalties didn't help the cause. Just a weird game at the end of the day. Just a weird game. So
I think it's going to be real interesting to see two things. One, does Sean Payton eventually bench Russ, whether it's for a game or more?
For what? He didn't do anything in that game.
Not playing great, needing a spark, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but nobody on that team is playing great, so I don't know why you bench him.
Right. He didn't do anything in that game to say bench him. I don't know where you're coming from with that.
It's like beating one of the kids because the house ain't clean. You know what I mean? It's like it's not his fault. I think he contributes, but it's not all his fault, man.
I mean, at the end of the day, who's he throwing to? Greg Dulcich got hurt, didn't play the whole second half. He had Cortland Sutton, Little Jordan Humphrey, Brandon Johnson, and Marvin Mims.
To my next point. I already think Patton in the front office is not a great GM. And granted, it's week 1. Not trying to overreact like last year where I told everybody Hackett was miserable after the first drive of the game. We're in for a bad season. Yeah. I'll give Sean Payton a little bit of a leash. But at the same time, has the game passed him by? Is Sean Payton in a position now where he's not that offensive genius that he once was. He's not that ultimate leader that he once was. These younger guys aren't quite wanting to play for someone like him.
Dude,
I think
this
I'm just
is
gonna
not
keep-
a squad anything like he's ever
drinking.
coached.
No, it's not.
That's not even
but
comparable, dude.
he definitely brought in a lot of these guys. He handpicked a lot of these guys to come in and fill this roster out.
Well, I mean, not the
I'm just saying.
players.
These are
I mean, they
things that
lost
I'm
by.
gonna be watching
You
this
act like
season.
they got blown
I'm not
out,
saying,
bro.
like,
They
it's
lost
week one.
by a
I'm not trying
point.
to overreact.
Yeah.
I'm just saying these are things to keep an eye on as the season goes on. No different than is Mike McCarthy making smart coaching decisions. Like, you already know that's the storyline. I'm just trying to say these are storylines I'm going to be watching the Broncos this year because I think they could become relevant.
They lost by a point.
Yeah.
They had
To
two
the Raiders,
long
dude.
plays where a
This
guy
isn't they
stepped out of
lost to a
bounds.
point to the Chiefs, to the Bills, to a really good team. This is they lost by a point to the Raiders.
Honestly, I would put more heat on the Broncos defense than I would on the offense, to be honest. Because listen,
I'm good with that too. They didn't play
16
well.
points. That is a lot more points than you guys were scoring last season. All right, that's actually a pretty good
That's
percentage.
actually our
increase.
average. Our average
Well,
was close to
Yeah,
16.
by the time you were starting to rack up like the points by the end of the season, but like early on, you were just like you were praying you'd get a field goal. You know what I mean? And
Like,
to
people
let
wanna talk
Jacoby
about this
Myers
blitz
go
game.
out there and catching on that defense all day, Jacoby Myers, who had that on their radar that they're going to let the second wide receiver go in there and absolutely just wreak havoc on your secondary. And then you
Definitely.
can't find a way to put pressure on Garoppolo. Like,
Yep.
I don't know how I'm
that
putting
was
anything
the
on
that was the
on
biggest
Russ.
issue in the game.
Yeah.
Jimmy G folds under pressure. They didn't put any pressure on him.
And
But
honestly,
again-
if you look at the time of possession, sorry to cut you off, Caleb, but just one
Okay.
more thing. I was just going to mention, you look at the time of possession, like actually 16 points for, the amount of time that they were kind of working with actually is not bad in comparison to how their games went last year. So that's why I'm not brutal on. Listen, you know me, I'm not a Broncos fan, but I'd say that this is already better than how they were starting last season for sure. So.
All right. What else?
But- Caleb hates everything, so we'll just go with that.
Whoa, what?
You do, bro. Like it's not a surprise. That's why I don't even want to
they
talk
lost
about
to
it
the
anymore.
Raiders. They scored a total of 16 points. Like,
Right.
I think I have a fair justification to be a little bit critical.
You want to bench Russell Wilson after he literally led 4 scoring drives. It's not his fault the field goal kicker missed an extra
Dude,
point
I've been
and
saying
missed
I
a
think
field
Russ
goal.
gets benched since
You literally
March?
just said.
Well, here's the other thing
Like, that's
too.
not something new that I just started saying. I've been saying that
No,
since
you've been
March,
saying it
since
for a
Sean
while,
Payton
but
got
there was
hired.
nothing from that game that would lead to that.
Well, listen,
I
nobody's going to
disagree, but okay.
Nobody's going to talk about benching Burrow. Nobody's going to talk about benching Allen, right? Like that conversation wouldn't even occur. And to be fair, Russ played way better than those two did. And the fact that the Broncos put up 5 times more points than the Bengals, I don't think I'd be complaining either. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, I think the Broncos are going to do a lot better this season than they did last year. So I would say give it to week 6 for them to iron things out. The next time that they meet up with the Raiders, it's going to be a different story. So,
And I agree with Cody, who mentioned Jerry Jeudy not being out there probably hurt quite a bit.
yeah.
Having him out there would have definitely helped out in that case. Now, I did want to touch on, I am not a Kenny Pickett fan. I've made that clear. I love the 49ers just stomping the shit out of the Steelers. Like, I loved it.
I didn't put a lot of stock in that game as a whole. Pittsburgh didn't show up at all. Like, and Pittsburgh's defense should be pretty decent, and they didn't show up either. So it's not like it was just the offense. That whole team looked like they could have just stayed on the bus. Again, week 1, a lot of people are trying to get cobwebs out. You can't put a lot of stock into a lot of what you see, but I will say, Pinky, and you've been on this for a long time, and I fully agree with you. Canada is arguably the worst OC in all of football.
How he has a job, I have no idea.
Yeah, he cannot figure out how to call a good game whatsoever and put his talent in positions to win.
Now,
so that's not going to help them going forward this season.
Like I think you can't run an offense the way they try to run it if you can't run the football. If you can't establish 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2, your quick passing game is not going to be effective when it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 12. You have to be able to run the football. Yeah, and again, Pat Freiermuth, who I've said is a decent tight end with pretty good skills.
Mhm.
They don't use him
Yeah.
almost at all.
Yeah, and it also doesn't seem to matter what kind of talent they bring in when it comes to wide receivers. That they never make them a part of the equation, And so it's I don't know, it's whatever. Steelers are going to suck for the next 6 years. So
I'm feeling good about taking Browns this weekend. Well, we'll get there, I guess.
yeah, and plus Kafka is definitely a worse offensive coordinator.
I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on this, but I will say watching the Cowboys just like wax the Giants does one of two things. One, starts to be like, maybe folks started to get a little too high on the Giants after making the playoffs last season. And B, it's definitely getting Cowboys Nation riled up. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to see Cowboys Nation riled up. Because that's when they start getting just out of control.
SB, we all know you're a big Dallas fan. You tell me, but to me, what I saw was a defense that is just out of this world elite, and an offense that still looks like they cannot get on the same page as one cohesive unit.
All right, two-parter on that one. That defense absolutely is looking phenomenal. Matter of fact, that defense outscored 7 other teams in the NFL that week. So if you want to put it that way. The other thing is, I don't expect their offense to look great because they weren't on the field very much. And then third quarter we swapped. We started putting in, some backups, and that was the case last year too, that game got so out of hand that we were putting in our backups, man. So it was one of those things. I don't like seeing blowouts like that. That's not fun football to me, which is one part why I don't like college, because you get so many games like that where people just get stomped,
I think you said that a number of times. So yeah.
And the other thing too is I think this gives us false confidence. I don't think we should get out there and say, oh, look how good we are, because we absolutely creamed the Giants, because most people can say that, if they end up going against them. And now the Giants look particularly bad. I mean, even for just being bad, like that was
they did.
That was pretty much foundationally as low as you can get bad when it comes to any kind of professional football team. That was just poor.
So and we listened to half of it on a phone on the drive back from the game. So I didn't get to watch a lot of it. And then by the time I got home, it was like 27-0.
Yeah,
and
there wasn't anything to watch.
The wife's like, "You don't want to watch the game?" And I was like, "No, I have no
game on."
Like, it literally looked like the Giants thought this was just like practice and it didn't matter. And they're just kind of going through the motions. And
yeah,
I don't want to say like the players weren't trying, but like sometimes you just have those off days. Like, things just don't go right, and then it snowballs, and then all hell breaks loose, and you just can't ever recover for whatever reason. And that happened to the Giants early, and there was no coming back from it.
No. I mean, just the back-to-back, the pick six, or was it pick six or fumble? Again, we weren't watching.
Then blocked field goal.
And then the block field. Yeah. I mean, just that, you can't get much more deflationary than that. And, but again, it's like
snowballed from there. Like,
right. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll have to see on the offense. Like I said, we didn't even get an opportunity to really get an outing on them. It's like, if you think about it, you know how they run their script on their first 20, 30 plays, something like that, whatever. Do you think they even bothered at that point? I mean, because they were like, okay, this is third possession. You know what I mean? It's like you just throw it out the window. So the one thing about Prescott is he needs to have a rhythm. You need to set a pace with him, otherwise he plays like trash. And he never even got that anyways. You know what I mean? It's like when your defense goes out there and scores back to back, you're just like,
Right.
all right, whatever. And then plus that's a complete different mentality. You know what I mean?
Oh,
When you're
yeah,
literally
you start
watching a
playing the
defense
game completely
manhandle a
differently, for
team,
sure.
never in your mind do you think, oh, I can't wait to get out there and win this game. You know what I mean? You're like, no, this game's over. It's just now you're just chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're playing Biggie on the sidelines.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, half the team was probably on
So-
TikTok trying to entertain themselves. So
Looking forward to next week, which we'll talk about.
Wait, whoa. We're not on it next week yet.
Hold on. I was transitioning, Caleb, and you ruined
My
it.
bad. Okay, my bad.
I was
My
going
bad.
from one New York shit show to the next New York shit show.
Well done,
Yeah.
sir. Well done. Cheers, Pinky. Cheers. Well done.
So I actually, this is funny. I did. I sent you the video of Rich Eisen. I felt for Rich Eisen today. Today is the 24th anniversary of the last time that the Jets felt really good about their team, starting week 1, with Vinny Testaverde at quarterback. And week 1, he blows his Achilles. 24 years ago today.
Yep.
So funny, and Rich Eisen mentioned it. Guess who was the captain of the coin toss last night?
Oh, was it really Vinny?
Vinny Testaverde.
Did he wink at Rodgers and say good luck?
Oh
It was
man, what was
just-
that? Why? What were the Jets thinking, man? What were the Jets thinking?
Man.
So
4 plays. 4 plays.
So, I watched that game. I like Aaron Rodgers as well. Obviously, for my Packers jersey, I picked 12. I've always loved watching Aaron Rodgers play. That dude can sling the football. He's accurate. It's on point. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. He's just fun to watch, right? Mahomes has probably taken over that mantle, but Rodgers has always been a fun guy to watch. And even if you're not really a Green Bay fan, but to see that, this was funny. I did see this tweet too. There was a guy like 3 hours before the game that actually tweeted out that Aaron Rodgers was going to tear his Achilles on that.
So
turf.
here's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's
That game
interesting.
last night told me 2 things. One, I think I'm completely justified and correct on the Bills are on the downfall. And I don't think it's just Josh Allen, but he's definitely not helping his case or theirs. And 2, what I saw is a Jets team that, to be perfectly honest with you, had Aaron Rodgers playing at quarterback, could maybe be the best team in the league. Because the way they were able to run the ball, and let's be honest, they were running the ball with Buffalo knowing all we have to do is stop the run because Zach Wilson ain't going to hurt us. And they were still running the ball at like 7 yards a clip.
Yep.
And then that defense to do what they did to that Buffalo offense, I'm dead serious. I'm not trying to be a hot take. I'm not trying to be crazy. Aaron Rodgers plays that game. They win like 38 to whatever they had, and the Jets are good.
Let's be honest about defenses. Like the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Niners defenses are like the top 3 in the league. You know, they're stacked in talent all over.
Young
the Jets
talent, too.
could, the Jets can get any quarterback to give them 3 to 4 picks and a fumble and all that. Not just Josh Allen. I mean, we expect better from Josh Allen, but that Jets defense.
Well, we'll get
pretty
there,
good.
but do we? We'll get there, but do we?
I think he misses Brian DeBall. Like, period. He misses Brian DeBall. Brian DeBall got the best football out of him, and as soon as he left, he just doesn't look the same.
He kept it simple for him. He found a way to make sure Josh wasn't trying to be Superman. And when I don't think Josh Allen's a bad quarterback. I think he tries to do too much too often, and it gets him in trouble consistently.
Yeah, a couple of his picks were deep throws. They looked like, punts at that point. But he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to, throw that ball. Like, he could have gone to a check down and got your first down and then kept moving.
Well, I think the big thing that needs to be talked about, though, is the fact that the Bills have not had a running game since how long? you know? And so,
Thurman
I mean,
Thomas.
yeah, and so it's one of those things where even though you want to sit there and say, oh, yeah, they don't want to put
Marshawn
Allen.
Lynch.
What?
No, they had
Marshawn Lynch and Willis McGahee. Those are those guys.
McCoy, though. Like when they had LaShawn McCoy, I mean, back
They had
before.
Marshawn Lynch. I wouldn't say they had a running game with any of those guys, though.
They had running backs, but not a running game.
Exactly.
I think that's
Thank
the
you,
point you're
SB.
making, Caleb. Is that
Thank
like
you,
it's not like there was a
SB.
team built around it, you know? But it's one of those things where you could say that you don't want to put everything on Allen's plate, but when you don't give him any other options, it's kind of like that. That's you're saying
Agreed.
it without saying it, and that's the thing is if they would have just worn that defense out by running the ball, then maybe that is a completely different game, right? But it's just
to be perfectly honest with you, McDermott, and again, it's week 1. You try not to overreact, but you start looking at this in context with everything else that's happened over the last couple of years, and plain and simple calls that he's made as the head coach, and you start thinking, is he getting exposed a little bit now? Like, did they make a mistake signing him long term? Because this guy's starting to have a track record here of being a good coach, but maybe not a great coach when it matters. And that's that big difference that separates guys.
You know who McDermott is? He's John Fox.
No.
That's kind of mean.
Man, that is brutal. Yeah.
You have like no stats to support that.
Hey, John Fox has been to two Super Bowls, though.
I know.
Oh, wait.
I'm with you, Pinky. Like, good coach. Like, he's done some things, but bam, when it matters most.
Who are you thinking about, SB?
Yeah, clearly not him.
He was the old Carolina head coach, and then he was the Denver head coach.
Oh, is that when that's with Davis?
They got blown out by Seattle in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, and he was Manning, right? Coaching Manning then. Okay, yeah. All right, now I remember.
That's brutal. So I actually feel bad for Jets fans. Like, they had something to look forward to this year. I really believe after what I saw last night, they were the best team in the league. If you're doing power rankings after week 1, like that's what I saw.
I
think the 49ers would have still had a case on that one, my friend.
I said it last season.
Played Pittsburgh and Dallas played the Giants, whereas the Jets played Buffalo, which is, by everybody's account, one of the Super Bowl contenders. So I give the Jets a little bit more credit for that win than I do for Dallas.
We have no idea if Rodgers throws some interceptions because he's got guys not running the routes they're supposed to run. Like, we don't know what would have happened. By all
accounts, on paper, we don't have Pittsburgh or New York Giants being Super Bowl contenders. We do think Buffalo's that good.
Yeah, but you can say this for sure, Pinky. Rodgers would have played better than Zach Wilson, right? And he still managed to get that game won. So
that's what I feel bad. Like, that's what I feel the worst for Jets fans is they have to spend another season watching Zach Wilson play quarterback.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
even his touchdown pass was an awful pass, and he's just lucky that Garrett Wilson's fucking superhuman.
Yeah,
sure.
Facts on that. But I said it last season. I said if the Jets end up getting Rodgers, because this is before signing, I said they win that division. And I still think that would have indeed been the case, especially showing how good that defense plays. Because you put that defense on there and then you let Rodgers run amok and go out there and start putting up. Yeah, and sure, second place would, in my opinion, would be the Dolphins. Yep. But that Jets team, even now, I think can beat the Dolphins. As good as that offense is, that defense is just not to be messed with. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And, so it's going to be interesting. But if they some way somehow ever did make it to the Super Bowl, that will be the most boring Super Bowl we will probably ever see in our lives. And we might see an MVP kicker for sure.
Dallas Cowboys or San Francisco 49ers versus the Jets. That would be a really bad Super Bowl to watch.
That'd be bad. Yeah. We actually might see more points scored from the defenses than we do from offenses.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. All right, Pinky, take us into this next week.
Bro, I was looking at this next week. Obviously, I'm already trying to figure out what bets I want to look for and kind of get a game plan. I do not like most of these matchups are close for a lot of teams next week.
Well, let's start with Thursday night. Who's playing in 2 days?
Thursday night's going to be a fun game. We got Vikings and the Eagles, baby. In Philly.
Eagles secondary defense as a whole, but their secondary suspect Vikings could eat that alive actually and make that quite the game.
Well, I just think this will be the over-under is 49, which is high for a Thursday night football game.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I'm taking that under, and I actually have the Vikings as a 1-point favorite, which I hate to even verbalize, but
I just don't
that's my
see. I don't
numbers.
see them running the football at all against the Eagles, and Jefferson's going to get his yards like he did against the Bucs, but it just didn't equal the points.
Yeah,
The Eagles this last week definitely looked like a team who didn't play their starters at all during preseason. I mean, that's just really what that game looked like. Just some rust. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but yeah, man, like I could see that because that secondary is suspect.
That's why I think the over might actually be good, just based on will the Vikings be able to stop the Eagles, and will the Eagles secondary be able to stop the Vikings? I mean, they should be able to get pressure on Kirk Cousins, but
I could easily see a 31-24 game, real easy.
I think that's possible, but I think the I don't know, man.
What about 42? If we lower it to 42, what do you think about that? Over 42 points.
I think it'd go over 42, but just barely. I have it like a 23-21 game. So yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking on that. And what's sad is the Vikings are starting to make me think of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. It's where you have all the yards, but you have no scoring. You know what I mean? And you're like, how? How do you throw 139 yards and a half and then and don't do anything? You know what I mean? That's so mind blowing to me. For him to 227 yards in the first half, which I think in the first half he put up more yards than I think half of the quarterbacks did in full games, and then he still accomplished nothing. I don't understand that. I don't get it.
And I didn't watch the game because it was on Red Zone, so I don't know like turnovers or like third down misses or penalties or what caused all that,
but just kind of didn't play clean football. Execution penalties, and then their defense was bad. It just was bad.
And then we'll go to the next one. That's probably a really good game. Chiefs and Jaguars.
Jags.
Chris Jones is back.
Jags.
Yeah, I'm on that. On the Jags on that one too. How long is Kelsey out?
At least 2 weeks was the last time.
He's getting better, as they're saying, but like last week after the game, they said he couldn't even move in the pool. That's how bad it was.
Chris Jones will be playing this week, though, by all accounts. He got his 1-year deal.
He might be on a snap count though, just because he didn't do anything.
Agreed. That's my point, though. Like, I'm not too worried about him. Jags looked really good. Jags are. I think they're only going to keep rolling.
Chiefs defense looked pretty good without Chris Jones. They didn't get the same pressure on Goff that they would normally get. But
I mean, I wasn't super impressed with the Lions' offense either. They were pretty sloppy and they didn't execute very well.
I mean, they only have really Amon-Ra really with Jameson Williams out.
Laporta looked pretty darn good as a rookie tight end, and they got 2 running backs that can do damage. They just didn't look good, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah.
Bears Bucks.
It's just going to be a gross game. I don't think that's going to be exciting.
I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to keep saying it. People can say like Fields is bad all they want. I still don't think he may ever get a chance to really show what he's capable of, because that coaching staff, that offensive coordinator, they are still real bad. Like they didn't realize they needed to pull their heads out of their asses in the offseason. And the Bears deciding to go defense and build around that and then piecework together the offense still isn't working. That defense looked like trash last weekend. I don't see it being that great this year as a whole. They're just really poorly run, really poorly coached, and I think there's quite a bit of talent on that team.
Yeah. I think if Fields just works on getting a really good connection with DJ Moore, that's all he needs to do. Because
Dude, DJ Moore had two
which is
looks the
which
entire
is
game.
absolutely stupid. Between like Komet and Moore, you have two big dudes that could go get the ball for you, and nothing spreads a field more than a mobile quarterback like Fields. So like
Right.
you should be taking so much advantage of those opportunities.
The
So
problem
they
is
have
when he starts to run, he's running. He's not looking to throw the ball.
No, Pinky, again, like I think you need to start
I,
re-looking at this
I,
tape from
dude,
it being terrible play
I
calling and
watched
not.
cut up to that. There were multiple
No, dude,
times.
you keep looking at it as Fields is a bad quarterback. If you would look at it as the play call.
Just gonna mute him. Just cause. That was fun. So, go ahead, Caleb.
I'm good. That's
I don't
just
think
going to be the
Justin
same
Fields.
narrative all the time.
I don't think Justin Fields is a bad quarterback. I think he's in a terrible situation, and what he's doing because he wants to live. He does not want to be the RG3, does not want to be one of these quarterbacks who just gets abused and then that shortens up his career. I think what he's doing is he's just doing what he needs to do to survive. And if I were him, I'd be like, I'm not going to try harder than these idiots are to actually coach. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to go, whatever. Listen, he's the second or third Bear that's already had that mentality where he's just like, whatever. You know what I mean? What's his name that came from the Broncos? I can never remember his name.
Cutler?
Yeah, Cutler. Cutler was legit that mentality. He'd go out there and he'd be like, listen, that ball is going out there within 2 seconds, and I don't care who it's going to. All right. All I know is I'm not getting hit anymore. And that was his mentality. He did not care. And you know what? Fields, by the end of the year, if they don't start fixing things, I really hope he adopts that mentality. He just doesn't care. Just starts throwing punts. You know what I mean? Because he's like,
their offensive
happen.
coordinator is not helping him at all.
No.
I agree with
The
Caleb
head
on that
coach is
point.
bad. I mean, it's the whole coaching
Well,
staff. They're just bad.
The head coach is a defensive guy,
Right.
which is
and the
fine.
defense looked
But
terrible. Like, let's be honest.
if you have a
That-
defensive
everyone
head
said
coach,
that.
you got to have a really good offensive coordinator, and they don't have a really good offensive coordinator.
And Poles,
So.
as the general manager, is looking like an idiot right now with the way he's handled free agency in the past couple drafts. Like, it's not looking good. And I don't see, like, again, week one, try not to overreact. I'm going to keep saying it. But I don't see the Bears getting a whole lot better and things improving a whole lot throughout this season to where they're competitive.
This might be a rough game. If the Bucs defense plays like it did against the Vikings, this could be a rough game for the Bears.
I think that was more of the Vikings not playing well than it was the Bucs playing good. So,
Absolutely.
But, the other thing though too is I'm not sure the Bucs will be able to contain Fields. I think this actually, if anything, might end up being one of those games where Fields runs for like 110 yards and maybe even a touchdown or two. I think that's like within the realm of possibility. So we'll see, but I don't think it's going to be an exciting game. I think it's going to be just kind of gross in my opinion. So
the Bucs -3s, they're the favorites. I mean, they're home. So
yeah.
I mean, you normally get 3 points at home, right? Chargers Titans.
I think the Chargers take that one pretty easy in my opinion, but I think Kellen Moore is a good fit for that offense. I think they showed that. I think he also highlighted that the problem with the Chargers has been the problem for the Chargers, and that is they don't know how to play defense whatsoever. They have absolutely no comprehension whatsoever. You get a mediocre defense on that team, and they win probably like 90% of the games. But unfortunately, they managed to like put together the worst defense you can possibly have, where they're like, oh, look, we can put up 38 points, but it doesn't matter because we're still going to lose by like 2 or something. You know, it's
I don't know, Cody. Like Titans defense is not bad. I don't know if I'd say that.
Look what they did to Miami's defense last weekend.
I don't think Miami's defense is like great. They're probably
Miami's is a lot better than the Titans.
I don't know about that. You can't run the ball on the Titans.
Xavier Howard, Chubb, right?
Well,
there,
they're not running the ball.
Of the Titans,
they're not
right?
running the ball though. The Chargers
I mean,
run the ball.
The Chargers ran for over 200 yards against the Dolphins.
without trying. It was like it's not like Austin Eckler had to break 5 tackles. If he was lucky, he was getting hit by a safety. It was like, yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
pretty
agree. I
pretty
just don't
easy.
think like Titans or anything to be like
I,
concerned about.
I no, I do think the Chargers will win that game. I don't think it's gonna be like they're not gonna put up 30 points.
Are we going to be watching the death of Brandon Staley and the rise of Kellen Moore to head coach, like all within like congruent time frames as the season continues on? That's just how it's going to progress.
I don't know. I don't know about that. All I know is they need to start getting a defense put together. Just one person. Give us something to celebrate at all. And other than that, like it's just not going to happen, man. And I feel bad for Austin Eckler because he like absolutely star-studded that game, tore it up, and then has to just still go home with that L. You know what I mean?
What's next, Pinky?
Big time. Colts Texans. This should be a quick one.
Anthony Richardson, I think, surprised some people. I will say that. Anthony Richardson looked like he surprised some people. Not me. I wasn't very surprised by what I saw, especially with the head coach that he has. I think they're going to be able to put together some game plans that allow him to grow. And you're going to have some bad weeks, don't get me wrong. But I think you saw some potential there that made it very evident why the Colts drafted him.
I think that game was a little bit closer against the Jaguars because of that like weird fumble recovery touchdown that probably couldn't have gone.
And I'm not talking about
one T-Law's
I'm just talking about what I saw from Anthony Richardson. That's all.
It was better than we thought it would be, but I don't know. I wouldn't even bet this game at all, to be honest. Because the Texans I thought actually played. I mean, CJ Stroud didn't play well, but like the offense didn't play well.
I will say this, for the Colts to go out there without Jonathan Taylor and with the rookie quarterback to go put up 21 points, again, 18 more than the Bengals and Burrow, for them to go out there and do that against the Jaguars, which they're not a pushover team. You know what I mean? Like they're Jaguars are a good team. Yep. So for him to start out with that was like, that's not an easy start to the NFL career. And I think he still played pretty well. So, I'm pretty interested to see what's going to happen. Matter of fact, I think this might even hopefully will change Taylor's position about the team a little bit, because he was probably thinking that he was in a death spiral. You know what I mean? And but who knows? Maybe he can get him hyped up and at least get him to try to play again. Plus, I need him to play because I took him in like 3 leagues. So don't do this to me, Taylor.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely not playing until week 5. We'll see after that.
Yeah.
Packers, Falcons.
Pack.
So Aaron says the Falcons are going to win this game.
I think they are, but I think it'll be a good game. Yeah. I just go by analytics, man. I don't have an opinion pertaining to this. I do my work. That's it. So
I like the Packers. I think Jordan Love is going to be better than a lot of people thought. I think the Packers. I said they were going to make the playoffs, and Pinky told me I was a fool.
But then we did the record projection, and it came out that they're going to make the playoffs. So I guess we're not that far off.
True.
Well, I mean that, and also you have the Vikings and the Bears in your division, so it's like, I mean,
right. I was just shocked. I don't like the Falcons didn't really play that well against the Panthers, and I don't think the Panthers are that good a team. That's why I just feel like the Packers should probably blow the doors off this one.
I don't think the Panthers are as bad as most people thought they were going to be, though. I don't actually think they're a terrible team. I think they've been in a really bad offensive situation for like the last 2-3 seasons. But when they get to the point where they let CMC go, you know what I mean? Like that's when you know that they're like, they've accepted death. You know what I mean? Where they're like, we're not even going to hold on to arguably like the best football player in the league. That's when you know that they just gave up, right? So I think for a team that is coming off of completely giving up on life, they don't look that bad, in my opinion.
Is this game in Atlanta?
I think so.
It is in Atlanta, yeah.
I think that Packers run game is going to look really good on that turf. Seriously, and I think Jordan Love will continue to be able to make good player choice decisions.
Bijan, though, man. Whew.
He looked good. But they're obviously not going to overuse him this year. I think Algiers is a pretty solid back, so I don't think it's a mistake that they're making by any means.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't think you're going to be a great team. You don't want to put that wear and tear on a superstar early in his career if you think you can build around him and be a playoff contender in the next couple of years. So I like what I saw from Atlanta, the way they're running their personnel for sure. But yeah, I think people are underestimating Green Bay. I really do.
Raiders, Bills.
I think the Bills snap back into it, man. And I think they let the Raiders have it. So
I agree. And again, Josh Allen's going to have these really stinker games where he just turns the ball over. And people are starting to say that's like who he is. That's his MO. I truly believe it's not him like not seeing the field or anything. It's him doing too much too often.
Yeah.
And if he can get somebody in his ear again, like Dayball was, where they can just say, hey man, like if you just make the right play, we will be really good with you and we will move the ball. We don't need you making that 15 to 20 yard in cut. That's not the play we need every play. So if they can get back to that, we could see something good. But we're going to see up and downs with them all year, I think.
It's 8.5 is the line.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I have the Bills as a 10-point favorite. So
there you go. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Not even a little bit.
Ravens, Bengals.
Boy, did both teams play just bad last week, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Bengals play a lot better at home in divisional games than the Ravens play in away divisional games. And that's the only reason why I'm going to put the edge on them. Plus, as bad as, in my opinion, both of the teams played, I think we're going to see a pretty drastic change. I think they realize that things aren't going to be an easy, walk in the park. I think that's kind of where the big problem is when it comes to talent. You think things are going to be easy, and then you get a really quick reminder that there's a lot of young people coming into the league that are going to work just as hard and have more to prove than you, and kind of gets put into check. So
sure. And I think Dobbins is going to be a loss. He was looking really good before he went out with that injury. He was looking electric, like seriously.
I told you last year, I said where the Ravens should be putting money is in their strength and conditioning team because all their people just get hurt. Man.
Yeah, man. So that's going to be a loss. And with an Achilles, it'll be interesting to see if he can truly bounce back and make another run because he's had this was his third year in the league, and he's played a total of like 12 games or something stupid like that in 3 years.
Yeah, stupid.
That's going to be a bit of a loss for them for sure. But they do have running backs that can fill in with Edwards and Justice Hill. They're bringing Melvin Gordon up off the practice squad. So,
they're going deep.
You laugh. He might fumble the ball a little bit here and there, but he does get yards. Like the dude is talented. So
he also
running him as a second or third back. That's still some depth there.
And when you get near the goal line, he'll fumble and let the other team return it for a touchdown.
First of all, you don't make stupid play calls as the OC head coach. They put your guy in a bad spot. And two, you have other guys on that roster that you can hand the ball to on goal-to-go situations that aren't Melvin Gordon. And as long as Jim Harbaugh is smart enough, which I believe he to be smart enough, will not make those same choices.
Gordon also has one thing that a lot of their other running backs don't have, like tendons and ligaments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right. He does have that. That is true.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Baltimore. They're talented enough to play with anybody in the league, but they got to stay healthy.
I don't know if I would.
SP, I think you're right. And I said it already too. Bengals kind of do this every year now. They clunk out of the gates. They definitely play better at home. They'll figure it out. And based on what I saw last week, I would give the edge to the Bengals at home as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I'm not going to touch that game at all. I just don't know what I'm going to see from either team. Seahawks and Lions.
This one is going to be an interesting game.
Do the Seahawks fall back down to earth this season? Like what? That was not a good week 1 against the Rams. That's for sure.
Turned back into a pumpkin, man.
Whew. Well, you know what's interesting though? Boy, the Rams are a different team the beginning of the season than they were last season. Because if you remember, the Bills beat the hell out of them opening week last year, and then this year they come out swinging. So I think they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder as well too, and also obviously having Stafford is a much bigger difference when it comes to that as well too. He is a game changer. He kept the Lions in tons of games that they never should have been in, at his time there. So I think as long as Stafford stays healthy, they're actually going to be competitive in that division. It's not a great division, but at least they'll make it competitive. So I don't know. I think this one has a potential for definitely going past the over on it. So if there's anything to bet on, I think that would be
these teams both scored over 30 last season.
Yeah.
When they played. So the over is 47.5. I
feel
like
this
that.
is a toss-up game and it will be high scoring. I agree.
They do have
And
Lions
I don't think it
5.5.
I don't think it tells us much about either team after week 2 either. Both of these teams are still going to kind of be a bit of a mystery, I think, to me after week 2, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, I can see that.
49ers, Rams.
49ers blow the doors off. Let's move on. I seriously believe that. Like, true.
Line 7.5.
I'll take the over on that.
I got the 49ers by 14.
There you go.
Which is my biggest margin for the week. So
I like that a lot. Yep. Like it.
Okay. Smash that one. Awesome. Giants and Cardinals.
Giants should win.
I don't know if I could say that. I really don't. Not after what I just watched. I can't. You know how they'll say a NFL team could never lose to a college team? I'd take the Buffs over the Giants right now. I really would.
Ooh.
I would. All right.
It was bad. It was a bad week 1 showing. I will still take the Giants in this game and think they bounce back. But I don't feel good about it.
It's 5.5. Giants are 5.5 point favorites, and it's in Arizona. The over-under is 40.
Dude, can you imagine the disrespect if you're the Cardinals, where you watch them lose 40-0, you're at home, and you're not favorite to win?
Yeah.
That is some disrespect.
That's how bad that team is.
That is brutal, dude. That is brutal. The Cardinals are like, hey, we actually scored points this week. How are you going to put us?
Seriously.
Oh, that's brutal, dude. I mean, if I were the Cardinals, I'd come out and I'd smoke them just to make a point, dude. I don't care if
would you
they
pick
lose
the Cardinals
every other game.
After saying all that
every other game.
After saying all that SP, would you pick the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's not what my numbers say. But I would personally take the Cardinals over the Giants. All right.
My goodness.
I'm just saying I gotta bet my numbers. All right. But me personally, I'm like, I have a problem with this, and I just want to make that. I just want to,
okay.
No, first.
All right.
Yeah.
So we've got in the 225, we have Jets and Cowboys.
Cowboys, and this is no longer a good game to watch, I think.
Yeah, I know. Man, that would have been a game. Rodgers and the Jets.
I'm just wondering if the Cowboys offense going to be able to score on the Jets defense.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the Cowboys defense can score on the Jets offense.
God, I can't. It's going to get bad. Zach Wilson might not make it out of that game.
You're going to have a field day on that O-line and Zach Wilson. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah. I'm serious. Wilson might not make it out of that game. They're going to be scrambling for another quarterback.
The line is 9.5.
I don't actually have it that bad. I only have the Cowboys as a 5-point favorite technically, but I think it's probably going to be worse than that.
It's going to be not good. Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, I feel comfortable at 7. 9.5, I'm not sure. And 7, I feel pretty comfortable.
9.5 is a bit steep, but I'd say 5 to 7.
I could go to 9.5.
Yeah.
I honestly think I could go to 9.5. I don't think it's going to be good.
We're gonna have to do a conference call. Get me on board. I don't know.
Then the other thing, man, Rodgers just has the Cowboys numbers too. That's just he just knows how to ruin our day. So I really should be celebrating him gone, but I don't wish that on any NFL player,
Right,
dude. That's
right.
that's jacked up.
Look, bro,
I could go with a couple of coaches to
watch Zach
disappear, but
Wilson.
I know, man. It's a detriment to the entire
Nobody
NFL.
wants to watch that.
No,
Nobody wants
Absolutely.
to watch that.
Yeah.
next,
Yeah.
move along. Next,
The last 225 slated game is the Commanders versus the Broncos.
Broncos fans, don't get too excited here. Like,
It's gonna
I
be
don't know.
another snooze fest, man.
Commanders struggled to beat the Cardinals, man.
Cardinals
They were
actually
losing to the
should have
Cardinals.
won that game. Cardinals should have won that
neither
game.
team looked good last week. Like,
No.
that's all I'm saying. Like, neither team looked good to where I would feel confident one way or the other.
I will say this though, the Broncos defense is way better than the Cardinals defense, though. So I think
the Broncos
where
should win this game.
Yeah, that's where I put the
don't be
edge.
surprised if it's ugly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those 2 or 3 field goals per team kind of thing. And
The over-under is 38.5.
That sounds right.
I could see that under and smashing it like a 16-9, 16-12 game. Something just ugly.
I actually have that game 18-16 Broncos.
Yep,
So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
34 total. Done. Run with it.
So then we move
Yeah.
to the Sunday night game. I'm actually intrigued by this. Dolphins-Patriots.
So people are trying to say Patriots looked good last week. Mac Jones is going to be great again. This, that, and the other. Like,
whoa! When was Mac Jones ever great?
Yeah, man.
Great
People
again.
are
He was
starting to hype
great
this up
in the
for
second half of that game.
I think Miami runs away with this game, to be perfectly honest with you.
I can
Line's
see
2.5.
Yeah, the line's 2.5. Yeah. God. Here's the thing that I hate about statistics, because my numbers actually say the Patriots win that game, but everything about my conscious mind says absolutely not. So that's a rough one. I think I'm just building 2 different parlays is what's going on.
This is why
I highly
AI
disagree with
has
that.
not become a legitimate threat to human society yet, because we can still look at something and go,
Right.
well, yeah, but that's just wrong. Like, I don't care what the numbers say. That is just flat out wrong.
Yeah,
like,
this is what a Turing test really looks like, right? Where
Yeah.
you're like, I watched both those teams play. That guy's not winning,
And I don't want to hear anybody say, "Oh, well, Belichick's a genius and he can outcoach McDaniel." No. Let's truly start making sure we're on that Mike McDaniel's a genius bandwagon now. And that dude's going to have a game plan that eats that Patriots defense alive. I will guarantee it.
And plus, here's the other thing.
Nobody knows.
McDaniel's a genius.
Nobody knows.
He's smart, man. I think he knows how to beat Belichick. He's a young
Yep.
guy. He's played probably 1,000 hours of Madden in the last 6 months. You know what I mean? He's like
Minimum.
He knows what he's doing. He probably even has like a Reddit thread where he's like, "What would you do?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got people doing his homework for him.
And he also has, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Right.
So this is weird. I know. I don't know why they kind of changed it up. In previous seasons, you had 2 Monday night games. Now you only have 1.
Right.
But this week we get 2 Monday night games.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're getting 2. Yeah.
So we have Saints Panthers.
The Saints.
Hey,
I've
Derek
got-
Carr looks good, man.
I've got the Saints. It's 3.5 is the line.
I'll take Saints plus 3. 3.5.
And
for sure.
the over/under is 40.
See, here's another one that I have an issue with. And again, this is just based all off of analytics, right? But I actually have the Panthers at an 8-point favorite, which blows my mind.
No
absolutely
way.
blows my
Saints
mind.
win that running away, and Olave and Derek Carr look good again. That's my
Michael
thoughts.
Thomas even showed up, for God's sake.
Also, J.C. Horn is hurt, isn't he? Isn't he supposed to miss the next couple of weeks or something like that?
No, I don't know. Don't know about that, but yeah, this is the game. Like, so I did a $1 survivor pool on DraftKings, and I picked the Commanders last week, and I was really nervous because they were losing to the Cardinals. And this week, I'm thinking about taking the Saints.
I'd take the Saints for sure.
That's the team I'm thinking of this week. as the
I
Saints.
would love that pick.
Because I don't want to use the 49ers yet. Like, I want to hold them
Nope.
in my back pocket.
Yep.
I want to hold the Cowboys. Like, there's teams I'm like, nope, I want to wait on that. But Saints are the ones. Now, the last game, Browns and Steelers.
I can't imagine the Steelers play as bad as they did last week. I just can't. And Deshaun Watson still looks like he's got rust that may never come off.
Right.
He just doesn't look like he may ever be the same guy again, in which case it doesn't matter how much talent the Cleveland Browns truly have, and they can't seem to still figure out that Chubb is their best player. I'm guessing Cleveland's favored, but I'll take the upset in Pittsburgh to win.
So this is strange because Cleveland is favored, but it's in Pittsburgh. Cleveland's favored by 2. I kind of like the Browns here. I just don't see anything about that Pittsburgh offense right now. And the one thing that not a lot of people are talking about, the Browns' interior defense got better with Dalvin Tomlinson. I may not be saying that right. And then Shelby Harris. Like, they actually have defensive tackles now.
For sure.
Which leaves Garrett more one-on-one. So
I think Pittsburgh's defense bounces back. I think Fitzpatrick. I think T.J. Watt. I think they have a good game against the Browns.
T.J. Watt had a good game against the 49ers. It just didn't matter.
On a whole, they didn't have a great game as a unit.
Yeah. So a couple of things I was going to mention, and here's the reason earlier why I'm saying I'm kind of taking the Saints for this. Do you know how many points that they normally allow for home division games? Or no, the Panthers. Sorry, Panthers allow. And this is pretty mind blowing. For home division games, they normally allow only 11 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. In comparison to every other game they play, that's pretty mind blowing. But the other issue is that the Saints do not perform well on away games in the division, and that was the only reason why I even have like the Panthers where I got them. And here's the other thing too: when it comes to the Browns on away divisional games, they normally only average about 15 points, and they give up 25 on average. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm like, listen, that's why I put the Browns above the Bengals last week, and that's why I'm putting the Steelers above the Browns this week. I said because these numbers just don't lie when it comes to divisional games, man. It's just if there's anything that there's going to be consistency on because of numbers, that's going to be it.
I mean, but can change in scheme and change in players affect that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, what have we really seen that's been a huge difference? You know what I mean?
I mean, the Browns don't have Joe Woods at defensive coordinator, and they actually brought in a couple players. So
yeah, but let's be honest. Like, first of all, excuse me, like you said, divisional games, and this is the AFC North on top of it, right? So that's just two things right there that kind of tilt the scale. The other thing to think about is Mike Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons, right? So you might think that offense isn't great. I don't know how they're going to win games, this, that, and the other. They'll find ways. Like, they just will. And this is one of those games where it's a perfect example of finding a way.
Yeah. That and all these coaches, right? One, there's psychology involved. And then two, you think they don't have analytics to look at stuff, right?
Oh,
I mean, they clearly have the highest end of analytics. They know what to do, what works, what does not work, etc. And they're going to put the majority of any of their time and effort into divisional games because those matter the most. And that's the reason why you see that much more consistency when it comes to this. And trust me, they're huge swings. There are anywhere between 14 to 21 point swings in analytics, depending on whether or not they're home, away, division on division, very consistently. And, but you know, any given Sunday, right? But I'm just saying, if I had to put numbers on it, all my analytics say that the Steelers end up walking away with the win on this one. So
I might put one of my free bets on that one.
Just saying.
Just
like the Browns this week. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
I don't. Maybe I'm a Steelers hater. I probably am. I don't like Kenny Pickett, and I think Myles Garrett's going to eat that dude alive.
Never know. Looking forward to it, though. I love football, and I'm glad it's back.
Right. I'm like,
agreed.
But when I look down the list of these, I'm like, there's not many games where I'm like, man, I feel really confident about that.
No. The beginning of the year is always the worst too.
Yeah,
You got so much stuff to iron out. Nothing's set in stone. It's just people are trying
Right.
new things. It's just
Based on your analytics, maybe I do take a swing at the 49ers and 7.5 points, right? And just smash that.
They might do it. They just might. We'll see.
SP, final thoughts, my guy.
Good chatting with you guys. Again, just stoked with football being back. It was a good time hanging out in Denver. Just good stuff, man. This is the time of year.
for those
You
of
swing
obnoxious
by
Raiders
anytime
fans.
you get a free moment. We love chopping it up with you for sure.
Yeah.
Don't ever hesitate to reach out and say, hey, I'm coming.
Yeah, and
Pinky,
then we'll get to see if I'm right with these bets next
yeah,
week.
I like it. I
might not get an
Final
invite.
thoughts?
Things go poor.
I need to be right with some bets. That's what I need to get. Man. God, I don't know if I have shit, man. This is a tough week this week. Thinking I'll probably put out once we get a consensus on a couple of these, I'll probably be putting out a Pinky's parlay this week. Watch out on the YouTube channel. It'll be coming. I didn't get time to do it. I just got lazy on Saturday, and then I went to the game Sunday, so I didn't get a chance to get it out. But I'm going to try to get it out Saturday so that we can see if we can help some folks win some money.
Word. Love
Sounds
it.
good.
Football's back, guys. That's all I'm gonna simple this week. So football's back. So cheers to everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you for all the support, like, share, whatever all the other fun things are that the social media requires of you to support us. We appreciate it. And as always, do not take those moments with that inner circle, your loved ones, family, friends for granted. Cherish them. Take advantage of them whenever you can. Until next week.
You never know.
We're out.
Later, fellas.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.